Hello, learners. Welcome back. So, today we are going to be dealing with the Rattrap, which is a profound and beautiful lesson by Selma Lagerlof. Selma Lagerlof gives a very apt and logical title to the story. The metaphor of the rat trap is very effectively used. The whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All riches, joys, food, and shelter are just baits. The moment anyone touches the bait, the rat trap closes in on him. Then everything comes to an end. So, what happens in the story? In the story, the author Selma Lagerlof conveys a definite message. The story has a universal appeal. The essential goodness in a human being never dies. So, the main crux is that how the essential goodness in a human being, it never dies, it never fades away, it never goes. It can be awakened through understanding and love. And always that inner beauty, that inner goodness, that can be awakened through understanding and love. By showing compassion, by being understanding, by showcasing love. Miss Edla awakens the basic goodness of the peddler. He is transformed into a noble person in the end. The story is told in the manner of a fairy tale and starts with once upon a time there was a poor man who sold rat traps of wire. His income from the traps was not enough. Therefore, he begged and stole petty things at times. Once an idea struck him that the world was like a rat trap full of temptations to trap man. So what happens is whenever we are talking about the temptations or whenever we are talking about the baits, then men, they are tempted by those baits. And what are those baits? Wealth, power, food, shelter, these act as a kind of bait. So they are set in front of a rat, and therefore rat gets tempted by the cheese in a rat trap. So therefore the metaphor has been used similarly in this similar fashion. The man selling rat traps lived a poor life. So here we are talking about the vagabond, the poor vagabond, without enough food or proper shelter. So he looked upon the world like this in the light of his own sufferings. Once he took shelter in the house of a man who had been a crofter in Ramshaw iron works. So the man was without any family and was lonely. Therefore, obviously, because he didn't have any family, he was not married, so he was lonely. He welcomed the peddler. The crofter was friendly and generous. He offered, he therefore, he was offered supper and tobacco. They also played a game of cards, and therefore he told him about his life and showed him the 30 kroner that he kept near the window. The peddler stole the money and left. Initially, he was happy to get the money, but very soon, fearing detection, he avoided the highway. He then saw the forge of the Ramshaw iron works and went there to spend the night near the forge. At that time, the iron master, the owner of the factory, then he came in. The iron master mistook him to be his old friend Nils Olof, with whom he had served in the regiment. To help his friend, who he perceived had fallen into, bad days, he invited the peddler to his house. The peddler realized that the iron master was making a mistake, but he did not correct him in the hope that he might give him some money. He did not want to go to the iron master's house as he feared that he might be detected. He might, they would come to know the reality. So the Iron Master sent his daughter when he failed to convince the peddler. The kind hearted daughter of the Iron Master, Edla Wilminson, was compassionate and loving. She suspected that the man might have committed some crime, but she ignored that and thought that the man, haunted by, haunted or stricken by fear, must have lived a miserable life. She wanted to give him uh, at least a night's peace and security. She assured, therefore, we get to see how she assured the peddler that in her house uh, he would be very safe. He would be free to leave any time. She persuaded him to be their guest on the Christmas Eve, and we can say that she was very persuasive in nature. She had persuading powers. The genuine compassion Edla showed gave the man a sense of peace and security. He slept as if he wanted to make up for the sleepless nights he had spent throughout his life. The following morning, on Christmas Eve, the Iron Master and his daughter they discussed how to help the peddler. How can they help the peddler? The Iron Master planned to give him to help him, in order to help him out, and so that he could regain his health, and also to assist him in finding a vocation for himself. The peddler was the peddler then he got his hair cut, he shaved, and he had taken bath. When he presented himself to his host, the Iron Master realized that it was not his comrade. He threatened to call the sheriff, but Edla intervened. She persuaded her father to let him stay and not to chase away a person been promised uh, who had been promised good cheer by the Iron Master and by the daughter only. So again, we get to see her persuasion skills, her persuading powers. The daughter gave him the suit that he was given to wear, and she invited him next Christmas also, and assured him of, you know, security and safety. The peddler was overwhelmed. The next morning, he left the manor house, but before leaving, he left the packet containing the 30 kroner of the crafter. He wrote a letter to Edla asking her to return the money to the crafter. He wrote that she had treated him with respect as if he was a real captain. She had treated him as a man and not as a thief. That genuine regard had induced him to be a better man and give up on the thievery and stealing. Therefore, we get to see the genuine compassion and kindness of Edla changed the life of a thief, and how, the life had completely undergone a drastic change. It had metamorphosed, it had transformed and turned him, and Edla Wilminson was the one